Greetings, sports fans, YouTube world. This is Jason Perkins, and it's that time of year again. The NFL season is about to start tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, September 8th, and what I want to do at this time is, instead of doing a hard line prediction YouTube blog that I'm sure tens of hundreds of football dorks like myself will do, I'm going to kind of give a more general idea of how I think all things being equal should go. With that in mind, I'm just going to start with the AFC West with the help of my trusted little notebook here. I kind of have the Chargers in charge of the division until further notice. Basically, in spite of the holdouts that they're dealing with, they've got talent across the board, just about every position. They're looking at Legadou Nene helping with Malcolm Floyd to help fill the void of Vincent Jackson. And they seem to not be missing a beat at left tackle with Dombrowski filling in. I look at them being heads and shoulders above everyone else in that division. And really, after that, it's just the rest of the division. Looking at Denver, having Dumerville go down, that certainly doesn't help matters. They're replaced Marshall with a rookie who may be good down the road, but he came out of a Georgia Tech offense, which is a gimmick offense, basically. A little option offense. So it's going to take him a while to get accustomed to an NFL offense. You look at Kansas City, they're rebuilding. They've got some talent here and there, but overall, they've got a quarterback who is probably a little too used to throwing to Randy Moss and Wes Welker, and now it's looking around and seeing Dwayne Bowe, and yeah, that's about it. So when you look at that, you look at Oakland's situation, the best thing you can say about them is they got a mediocre quarterback. And that mediocre quarterback will get them 2 or 3 more extra wins. And that's saying a lot, that they've upgraded from pathetic to mediocre at quarterback. When you look at the AFC North, it's a little bit more of a congested field. I look at the Ravens actually being a sleeper team to take that division. One thing to keep in mind, in addition to the Bolden acquisition and things of that nature, they have a very favorable schedule. Specifically, I want to talk about 2 scenarios here. Week 4, they see Pittsburgh on the road at Pittsburgh. So that's week 4, and that's the last game of Ben Roethlisberger's suspension. You would think that they'd be able to get the job done in that situation. And then here's the important thing. Week 15, if you were to see the Saints win, you see them at the end of the season, week 15, dome team on the road against a playoff caliber team in the weather. That's something to keep in mind. Cincinnati is the obvious threat to retain their division, actually, which is it's theirs to lose. But amongst other things, I don't like the knucklehead factor. They've got a team full of knuckleheads. And for those of you, many of you, most of you that are watching this are probably in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, obviously. I think we've seen this before, to say the least. Owens, Pack, Tank, all those guys, it'll come back to get them in the end. And I think that they've got guys on that team that are more style and substance. They're not a fourth quarter team. They're not a fourth quarter of the year team. They're all flash and no substance. And I think that'll get them in the end. They do have a lot of talent. They do have a great defensive coordinator, but they've got enough holes, particularly in the back half of that secondary, Sewell Williams, that'll keep them from getting where they want to go. The Cleveland Browns speak for themselves. They don't have enough playmakers. They don't have any receivers other than perhaps Massaquoi. You look at going further from there. You look at the AFC North. Looking at Pittsburgh, obviously, the Roethlisberger situation is gonna cost them at least a couple games, point blank. Then you talk about their tackle situation, and that really, more than anything, has me concerned about them really challenging for the division. Otherwise, they're stacked. Defense is excellent. Pouncey, the center, even on that offensive line, he looks like a player. Mendenhall's a good player, and they've got some receivers. Mike Wallace is a trendy guy to be that sleeper guy, but overall, the tackles and the Ben Roethlisberger situation and the competition, the sheer competition of the division on the top end, keeps them from probably making the playoffs. And then finally, we want to look at the AFC East. I want to take a time here to point out a couple things. San Francisco went 4 years in the 80s between championships. They had an unfortunate injury to Joe Montana, lost 2 months because of a back injury, and things of that nature, a lockout, a strike, or whatever, kept them kind of unbalanced. And the long story short, during that time they rebuilt, they reshuffled, they reconnoitered, and then in '88 they took care of business again. They reclaimed their throne. New England could be that team to repeat history in that vein. The defensive line is a bit of an issue, but with the unheralded acquisitions they've made, it's possible with that and the Mayo acquisition in the draft, they could be playing in Jerry Land here in February. But again, they have enough holes to where it's far from certain. The Dolphins will be on their heels. Chad Henne is one of those Parcells guys. You find a guy that's been productive over his college career, taking a bunch of snaps. Romo, Pennington, Bledsoe, Sims. Parcells' track record speaks for itself. I've seen some good things out of Henne. He finished the year strong last year. I'm not entirely sure, but all I know, he's a Parcells guy, and that's enough for me. The Jets, I kind of look at them as being a bit phony, actually. 20 interceptions for Sanchez last year. 20. And I think that let's see them get the same amount of turnovers. Let's see them do some of the same things they did, again, with that phony baloney offense. After a while, if you're not able to consistently get the ball down the field, you will be exposed. And I see this year being the year that the Jets are exposed. And then the last one, the Bills, it's C.J. Spiller and a bunch of guys, basically. Lee Evans helps out, obviously, but they just don't have a lot of firepower. And the offensive line is in shambles still. And that's just where they're at. The AFC South speaks for itself. It's Indy and Houston. That's what it boils down to. Tennessee will catch someone every now and again. They'll probably be hovering around 8 and 8, 9 and 7. But ultimately, Vince Young still hasn't shown me the ability to make all the throws when it counts early in the season. Because obviously, late in the season, he starts to come on, but he just doesn't seem to consistently do it. So, with that, I have them probably third. And the Jags, again, we're talking about a team with a lack of weapons, a lack of playmakers on both sides of the ball. They have some, but not nearly enough. And that's where I see AFC for now. I don't have any strong opinions on what the playoff situation will look like for AFC because there's a lot to be proven, there's a lot to be shown, but that's kind of generally where my head's at with the AFC. This is Jason Perkins for YouTube Sports.